Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Liberty's College. Before we begin, I just have a few housekeeping items. I'd like everyone here to follow COVID safety protocols, including wearing a mask, social distancing, hand hygiene and cough etiquette. The fire exits are both left and right, halfway along the hall, and the toilets are through each entrance, left and right. So thank you. So now we'll begin. So you're very welcome. My name is John Moriarty, and I'm the principal of Liberty's College. I'd like to take you through the running order for this afternoon's event. In a few moments, we will start with the launch by Minister Simon Harris, followed by Martina Kyle, who is a learner from Kilkenny Carlow ETB. Andrew Brownlee, CEO of Sullus, will follow Martina. And last but not least, we have Heidi Foster, CEO of Oncosan. I think it's very fitting that this building has been chosen, this very beautiful building for today's launch. This building, the home of Liberty's College, is 108 years old. And this building has always, in its 108-year history, been involved in community education and adult education. So over 100 years ago, women would come here after dropping their children to school and participate in various educational courses that supported them in their everyday lives. And with that rich history, I'm delighted that you're here today for the launch of this new strategy. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Minister for Further and Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Science, Mr. Simon Harris.
Thank you very much, and John, thank you so much for hosting us here today, and it's really wonderful to be here in Liberty's College, and like you, I can't think of a more appropriate place to launch this strategy, considering the major role you play in bringing access to further and higher education right into the heart of the community. And I want to acknowledge and thank my colleague and friend, Senator Mary Siri Carney, for being here today, and I'm not sure if there's any of my other Oireachtas colleagues here. I'm slightly blinded without my glasses, but I don't see any others, but thank you so much, Mary, for being here today as well. I'm really excited about the launch of this strategy. In many ways, I actually think it's going to be one of the most important things that my department, working with our colleagues and friends in Sullus and the ETBs, will do. I think and I hope it's one of the benefits of having a department dedicated to further and higher education, because it's an opportunity to provide an unprecedented level of focus, effort and resources on the issue of literacy in all of its forms. And I often think we boast, or maybe boast is the wrong word, we're very proud of the fact that we come from a country that is knowledge-based. You know, as government ministers, we go across the world, when you were allowed anyway, allowed again I think, we go across the world and we boast about Ireland. Come and work in Ireland, come and place your business in Ireland. We're a knowledge-based economy, and that's true. But of course, we never tell the other bit of the story. There's always a full stop after that. And we ignore the fact, or certainly we don't talk enough about the fact, that we live in a country where more than 1 in 6 adults do not have basic reading skills. And as you know, and as many of you, and I'm conscious so many of you are experts in this area, and I thank you for all your commitment. I mean, that can mean trying to pick up the medicine bottle and understanding whether you take 1 tablet or 2, and when you take them in the day can be a difficulty. It can mean being a mum or a dad and your son or your daughter coming home from primary school with the reader and asking for that bit of help, and the embarrassment and the pain that you can feel but not being able to help your young little child with their homework. It can mean we live in a country where 25% of us, 1 in 4, can struggle with basic addition, basic maths. Picking up a bill in a shop and totting up the numbers can be something we can't do, or again, that during the pandemic. And we're putting metrics in this plan. We're putting targets, ambitious ones that'll be hard to reach, but ones that I'm happy as a minister to be held for account to, working with you, because we have to deliver this strategy. And it is a 10-year strategy, and you can't fix these things overnight, we know that. And it is going to involve cultural change, it's going to involve ending the stigma, because what really came across from all of the research, all of the consultation, all of my visits around the country, when you meet people learning, was that sense of stigma, that sense of embarrassment. It was my fault I couldn't read. Well, my message to anybody struggling today, it's not your fault, it's ours. We have failed you. As a society or as an education system, we failed you, not the other way around. We failed you. The embarrassment is on us. And I really want to thank, sincerely, Andrew Brownlee as the head of Solace and all your brilliant team. And I'm not going to name them all, though I know many of their names, and I'm so grateful and indebted to them for their passion and their work on this strategy. The collaboration that's gone in. I want to thank Nala, I want to thank Colleen for the years of advocacy, the decades of advocacy that you've put in to literacy, and the expert voice that you bring, and you'll continue to advocate and push us and drive it on and make sure we implement this, and we want to work with you very closely on that. And I want to thank all my colleagues in the political world and the official world across government departments and state agencies, from the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, who need to make sure we stop talking in gobbledygook when we issue government documents and start talking in plain English, to the colleagues in the library service who are saying, yes, we'll put our hand up, we'll play our part in making sure the library becomes a resource in every community to help drive the literacy agenda. And I want to thank all the stakeholders, the guidance counsellors. I want to thank everybody who has worked on our interdepartmental group. And I want to thank all my colleagues in my department, and I particularly want to thank Stacey Cannon, who's driven this for us in the department as well, with her usual passion and commitment to issues like this that are so important. Everybody knows we're living at a moment and a time of rapid change, but it's also a time where progress is wide open to us. This is an opportunity, rebuilding post-pandemic, to fix some of the issues that were ignored somewhat in the past, certainly not given the attention. We do need to also acknowledge, though, that rapid pace of transformation has exposed those shortcomings that I've spoken about as well. And we need to get really serious about fixing this across government, across society as well. So what are we going to do? So today we're going to, I suppose, challenge the misconception that an inability to read, write, or digitally communicate is a failure of any individual. It's a failure, as I've said, of society. It's a failure of our state, but it's one we're going to address. And I think the vision in our strategy is important. It's the vision to have an Ireland where every person has the necessary literacy, numeracy, and digital literacy to fully engage in society and realise their potential. This is key if we want to make sure nobody gets locked out of full participation in society or in the economy. This is not a strategy that we kind of dreamt up or wrote. We listened to experts, 2,000 contributions through various consultation routes. And these highlighted a number of links that you'll know about. Links between poverty, inequality, exclusion, and unmet literacy, numeracy, and digital literacy. I visited a prison recently, and I met 2 prisoners who had never spent one day in an Irish school. Not one day, never. So we've got to be aware and awake to the links between so many of the challenges we face and the meeting of literacy needs as well. I think this strategy is going to ensure that people can understand their needs, they can understand where to go to meet them, and that they can get access to all the learning and support they need. That supports out there can expand and will need to expand to meet the literacy and numeracy needs over this 10-year period. And that we empower communities, not just agencies, but communities, all of us, to make real differences in their lives. And we're going to work very closely with An Chasán, and I'm delighted Heidi is here today, the National Adult Literacy Agency as well. And we're going to increase awareness of the services that already exist. And that's one of my messages today. I've been talking outside about CAO places and capacity constraints that can exist. This is one area of the education sector where we do have spare capacity today. If you pick up the phone today and ring the free phone number, if you pick up your phone today and send a text, there's unmet needs that we can start addressing now. We have capacity today to cater for more people. So that's the first message we need to get out. Help is there. It's at the end of the phone. It's at our new website. It's at the end of that text message as well. And we're not starting from scratch. And I know I was somewhat negative there about the role of the state, and I wanted to be, because I think we need to put our hands up and say we need to do much more. But that's not me in any way taking away from the incredible work that is being done, because we're building on an abundance of brilliant work going on nationwide. And even in advance of today, I was looking at the map of Ireland, where no matter where I live in Ireland, I can access these literacy supports. In the most rural village in Ireland, I can access these literacy supports as well. But we've got to encourage people to come through the door. So it's a 10-year strategy, and you'd be pleased to know I'm not going to take you through it all. But what are we going to do now, immediately, in the early implementation phases? Well, the first thing we're going to do is run a major national campaign around literacy awareness and support. We're going to use multiple media channels. We're going to reinforce it by our stakeholders at national, regional and local level. And my department's awareness campaign kicks off today. And I really understand and thank everybody for the fantastic goodwill from other departments, agencies and stakeholder bodies to share and promote the strategy. Let's get the message out today. Let's start the conversation in the kitchen table tonight that there are supports available. The second thing we're going to do is create this one-stop shop. Sometimes it's a hackneyed phrase, but it's important in relation to this area. We're going to bring together all the information, all the advice that we have on literacy, helping identify literacy needs and all the resources as well. And they're all going to be together at a new website that is live now, adultliteracyforlife.ie. And of course, we have the free phone number, the NALA number 1800 2020 65 for information in relation to literacy supports. We're going to bring together all informal and accredited private and public on-site and online digital skills opportunities, and for that very first time list them all in one place. We're going to expand further the literacy supports, including more intensive English language supports for migrants and more tailored projects which target unmet literacy needs for priority groups such as older people. We're going to work, as I've said, with those public sector organisations to start speaking in plain English and understanding properly as a public service what plain English is, and making sure that everything we produce is produced in plain English. And we're going to hire 16 regional coordinators, one for every ETB, with our colleagues in Solis and working Christie here in the city of Dublin, hire 16 regional coordinators throughout 2022 to have somebody on the ground driving the implementation of this strategy. Everyone here knows that education is a great leveller. We know that literacy is power, and it's our job to empower everyone in Ireland to be their best possible selves. Too many people think they've enough to get by and therefore they don't need support. Too many people struggle every day to hide that literacy need that they perhaps have. We want to show people that by availing of these supports, they're opening up pathways for themselves to a world of opportunities. I've met a number of people in literacy classes over the recent days. I was in Borris-O'Kane about a week ago, and I met, can never age people, but I met I think five men, let's say in their 50s, in rural Borris-O'Kane in a small community centre learning education. And to see the difference this has made. One guy works in Irish Rail. He said anytime there was a staff meeting, he used to hide at the back for fear somebody'd ask him a question and he'd have to read something. And then another guy on a lighter note went to a digital skills class and he found love online and it's changed his life. So from the social, from the personal, from the economic, this can change your life. We're going to change it. And you know what? There's no better way of hearing the benefits than listening directly to people who have been through our services, who have seen the benefit. And it gives me my great pleasure and honour to welcome and thank Martina Kiley from Kilkenny for being with us here today. She's going to share what I think you will find an inspirational story with us. So Martina, thank you so much for being here, and over to you. Gur Magat.
Hello everyone. My name is Martina Kiley. I'm from Kilkenny and I am a mature student. I left school at the age of 16 to go to work. I had no choice. About 5 years ago, my daughter was attending a course in the Adult Learning Centre in Kilkenny and Carlow ETB, and I always wanted to go, but I felt I was just too old. So Lisa finished up and I started. I had to look after her son, along with 2 more of my grandchildren. I was trying to help them with their homework, but I just couldn't understand it at all. Things had really changed. I was talking to Lisa, asking about what subjects that was going on there. I remember saying I was too old to go back. She really pushed me to go, saying it was great there. There was maths, child development, computers, reading and writing, and lots more. So I took the big step and I rang Helen in the Adult Learning Centre in Kilkenny and Carlow ETB. She invited me up one morning and I'm still there from that very first day, and I thoroughly enjoy it. The biggest step was making that call, and I never forget the shame and embarrassment walking through that door for the very first time. When I went in, I was introduced to everybody. I knew 2 or 3 others sitting around the table, so I felt a little bit relaxed. Everyone was there for the same reason. I never forget that welcome I got, the cup of tea and the friendly faces. Lots of laughter and great fun. The tutors always made time to listen, and if we needed a few minutes on our own with them, they made the time. You always felt understood, and you were never be afraid. Everyone is equal, and nobody was ever judged. It's still the same today. I've been coming for the last 5 years, and I really love it. I enjoy every Wednesday and Thursday morning. I look forward to it so much. You never know what's in store or what will happen. There's always a bit of fun, and that's really important too. Even during lockdown, it was great. We met every Wednesday and Thursday on Teams. Even though we couldn't meet as a group, we still had our classes. We were lucky to be able to get laptops on loan from Kilkenny and Carlow ETB. I never thought I'd be able to take part in the Teams call. I couldn't even turn the computer on. A few years ago, I hadn't just got a clue. We had great fun, played silly games, but still managed to finish our QQI folders. It was great to get the post with some of our homework, and the chocolate and the goodie bags came along too, which was a lovely surprise. It kept us all going through these tough times. Now I'm so much more confident in myself. I believe in myself. I try new things. My reading, writing, maths, computer skills have really improved, and I enjoy sitting down with the grandkids now. I can help them, and sometimes they help me. From joining the course, and I cannot praise it enough, I often talk to new tutors when they are training. I talk at literacy awarenesses and workshops. I was getting on so well in Kilkenny that Carmel and Helen put me forward to go on the National NALA Student Committee in Dublin with my friend Lisa. We meet every 2 months and see what's happening in other ETBs around the country. Before COVID, we had a NALA student day in Limerick. At the last minute, the chairperson could not come. And Margaret Murray from NALA asked me to step up and chair the meeting. I was terrified, but delighted, and I got through it, and I really enjoyed it. I felt so proud. They all said I did very well. Part of the job on the student committee was to go to the ploughing match. We had a great day meeting and talking to other people from all over the country. I always felt the people coming up and saying to Lisa and myself, they were asking for a friend. But I felt it was for themselves. One woman in particular sticks in my mind. I told her, don't be afraid. Take that first step and you will never regret it, because I haven't. So this is a short version of my journey returning to education in the Adult Learning Kilkenny and Carlow ETB Centre. I will always be grateful to all the wonderful people who worked there and made my journey that bit easier. I hope the government realise that this is a really needed service and that they'll keep on supporting all the people like me that were left behind. Thank you for listening. I now call Andrew Greenley. Thank you.
Thanks so much, and thanks so much. I think you've done a far better job than I'm going to, or indeed the Minister, at explaining what this is all about and what we're trying to do. So thanks so much for that. An incredible story and a really inspiring story. And I think exactly what we're trying to kind of recreate and what we're doing today. Look, I think this is a really significant day. It's certainly the product of an intense period of work. Really the guts of the last year has been taken up with this. Pretty much since the Minister made the development of a 10-year literacy strategy one of his first and most important priorities. Solace was really proud to be tasked by the Minister with developing the strategy, which we've obviously done with so much help from so many organisations and people in front of us today, but also tuning in online under the live stream. The strategy is called Adult Literacy for Life, and that's for a good reason, because it's not just about being able to read and write. It's about having the skills to participate fully in what's a rapidly evolving society. Whereas we all know if you don't have basic digital skills, you're really going to struggle. I think one of the really interesting things which came out from the over 2,000 inputs into the strategy was that we're actually able to define all of the different aspects of life where unmet literacy needs have such an impact these days. And that's really what we're trying to solve. It's not just about education. The strategy heralds a new approach to addressing these needs, ensuring that all the stakeholders across government, across society, across the economy work together at national, regional and local level to ensure success. One of the most striking things from my involvement in the process was the incredible passion, the commitment, the insight, the goodwill by so many with an interest in literacy. There was also real support for a much more joined-up approach working together to find solutions and address issues. So if we can harness all of that, put structures, put supports, put resources in place to embed a partnership approach, then there is a real chance of progress and success. Because addressing unmet literacy needs requires much more than, as I say, just learning, just education. It needs all of the wraparound support at community level, encompassing areas like health, like local government, like community development, social protection, employment. So what will change with this new strategy, and what will drive the change and the connectivity with all of that wider landscape? First of all, it's to embed that partnership approach. This is about establishing new cross-government structures. The programme office that the Minister mentioned, with cross-government and agency and stakeholder representatives working together to drive the strategy and drive change. It's about new literacy coalitions at national and regional level, linked to those new regional literacy coordinators that the Minister mentioned, whose job it will be to work with local stakeholders to develop a plan to make a real difference within communities. And from this foundation of partnership, the strategy is going to be built around 4 core pillars. First of all, it's about ensuring people can understand their needs and where to go to get help to address them. Secondly, it's about can get help on site. You don't need to go and do something different or something separate in a different facility. You can actually get access while you're doing your off-the-job training as an apprentice. It's also about ensuring a universal design approach across all of our literacy provision, building on some very significant work, both in higher ed and further education and training over the last couple of years. Thirdly, the strategy also recognises that support and services need to expand, and that more investment is required to build on the amazing work that's already out there. That means more focus on numeracy skills. It means bringing together and building on all of the digital skills offerings that are out there and making it more tangible and accessible for people, starting, pretty much from scratch. Supporting skilled practitioners through more consistent entry routes, through professional development, through looking at the way in which they're supported and rewarded, and by making sure that there's funding to support innovation and partnership that we need to see in order to make the strategy a success. I think finally this strategy is really about empowering people and communities to make a real difference to their lives. It's about person-centred pathways where guidance and support is available, where people can progress along that pipeline that we've just heard about into other kind of educational opportunities, where there's support for childcare, where there's support for transport and travel to get to places of learning that are part of the support package on offer. It's also about ensuring that we help the farthest behind first, with specific initiatives to help the most marginalised target groups. It's about supporting community initiatives, including the establishment of an expanded Mitigating Against Educational Disadvantage Fund, and using local authorities, libraries, healthcare settings, pharmacies to ensure that wider focus on health and well-being, as well as the educational support that people need. So that's the strategy, but there's also a big focus on measuring success. Part of the problem that we have at the moment is we're relying on very historic data when we're trying to assess how we're doing in terms of literacy and numeracy in particular. Digital capability, we have more up-to-date information. So one of the things we need to do is we need to figure out a way that we're going to monitor progress against literacy and numeracy levels across the country. So that's very much part of the plan. And hand in hand to that is the setting of real ambitious targets that we have to deliver on over the next 10 years, decreasing the number of adults with unmet literacy needs from 18 to 7%, decreasing the proportion with unmet numeracy needs from 25% to 12%, and decreasing those without basic digital skills from 47% down to 20%. I just want to conclude also by thanking the Minister for his support and for his sponsorship. He's been involved every step of the way, chairing the interdepartmental group and being a regular liaison point for us as well. It's been absolutely critical in getting that cross-government traction that you're going to need to make this a success. I also want to thank your department, Minister, and as you mentioned, particularly Stacey, who really has been leading on this, and Phil working alongside her before he moved on. They've been a fantastic support throughout the process as well. Thanks also to all of those who contributed fantastically through the Technical Advisory Committee and also the interdepartmental group. Some of them here in the room today, many more tuning in on the live stream. And also everyone who took the time to make an input or to talk to our team during the consultation phase. And particular thanks to the people who have experienced the services, the support, the learning, or people who have unmet literacy needs, who were actually prepared to come forward and tell us what the problems were, because that's what's really driven what's in the strategy. I also want to say specific thanks to the Education and Training Boards and ETBI, who played a key role in helping to shape the development of the strategy and will also play a pivotal role in ensuring success. And also to acknowledge NALA. I think it's fair to say we might not be standing here if it wasn't for, quite significant lobbying over a long period of time from NALA over the need to look at long-term at literacy issues and look at a cross-government approach and an interagency approach. And indeed, they put quite significant work into that before we even started this process that we could very much draw on. And again, they've been a real important partner to lean towards as we've developed this. And finally, I'm going to take the liberty, and while I'm up here, to thank the people within Solace. There's been incredible work undertaken by Roisin Doherty and our team, and I'm going to name them. I'm going to Avitsa, Noel, Siobhan, Paddy, Brian, Robert, Elaine, Christina, Mary Liz Trant, who oversaw the delivery of the strategy, and our board and our senior leadership team has supported its development as well. It's been an incredible effort over a very much a focused and intensive period of time. So thanks to you all for your help for that. So thanks for being here for this exciting launch, for all your help in getting us to this point. And we look forward to working with you to partner, to understand, to access, to expand, and to empower, and to ensure that adult literacy for life is a success. Thank you very much. I'm now going to hand over to Heidi Foster, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the work that Oncosan do.
Hello everyone, I'm Heidi Foster, CEO of Oncosan, Ireland's largest community education provider. Oncosan is Irish for the path, and we were established 35 years ago this December in West Tala. Our mission has always been to eradicate poverty by empowering through education. We aim to leave no one behind, reaching out to the furthest behind first. We've grown from our West Tala base into a national organization with a network of 191 community partners across Ireland. Our services include adult education, helping transform lives through face-to-face and online education across access, further and higher education levels. We also provide high-quality early years education, so our little ones have the best start in life. As a critical element of our community education ethos is our vital wraparound supports for learners and families. This includes counseling, but we also provide mental health and well-being services, family support, mentoring, coaching, tutoring, internship opportunities. We go the extra mile. We work with adults returning to education, people experiencing poverty and social exclusion, migrants and people in direct provision. A key element of our model across all our services has been embracing innovation and technology in education, providing an accessible path to education for many who would otherwise be unable to participate. I am delighted to be here today to speak at the launch of this 10-year national strategy, Adult Literacy for Life. It is a much-needed strategy to address the needs of those we serve. Thank you, Minister Simon Harris, for your commitment to this area. You have focused attention on this as a major national issue from your very first days in office. Those who have literacy issues are not always ready to draw attention to this, but you have advocated for them. Thanks also to Andrew Brownlee and Roshin Doherty from SOLAS, who worked tirelessly on the development of this strategy and involved Oncosan and a range of others in its development, many who are here. Oncosan is active in addressing the full range of literacy and educational needs, but we are particularly pleased to see the attention given to digital literacy in the strategy. In recent years, we saw that digital literacy was actually fast becoming an essential requirement for life, work, and learning. We moved to develop tools and programs to support learners. Without digital literacy, citizens cannot participate fully in society or acquire the skills and knowledge necessary to thrive in the 21st century. 9 out of 10 jobs in the near future will require digital skills. And many traditional sectors of employment, such as wholesale and retail, transportation, construction, are going to be subject to high levels of automation. There is also a strong link between occupations at risk of automation and the level of education of those employed. So low to middle skilled job seekers and workers are very much at risk of being left behind by innovation and digitalization. We undoubtedly live in a digital world. There are over 4.6 billion active internet users globally. But that doesn't mean everyone can avail of its benefits equally. The digital divide is the gap between the haves and the have-nots, as well as the gap between those who can and those who can't. Our lives, our learning, and our employment, our very participation in society are now dependent on digital resources, such as devices and internet connectivity. But much more than that, individuals are not only required to have these resources, but to know how to use them. Digital inclusion is about being able to participate in a fast-changing workplace and society. And this is not just an issue of older generations being left behind. For example, to many people, many of us, I have nieces and nephews, Generation Z is considered to be digitally enabled. They are the generation that has grown up with technology as an intrinsic part of their lives. It's how they communicate, socialize, and access entertainment. But in Oncosan, we see young people leaving school and college who are not the digital natives they are presumed to be. Yes, they have their phone attached to them all day, and many are gaming experts. But this is very, very different from having the digital skills needed for employment. The latest OECD program for the International Assessment Competencies report shows that 1 in 2 people in Ireland struggle with digital skills. There are many, many young people and old who are not equipped with adequate levels of digital literacy. So we welcome the focus on this strategy on those who don't possess digital literacy at a foundational level. We have a real understanding of the levels of additional support needed by many people to develop their digital literacy or to bridge the digital divide. When COVID-19 struck, all the cracks that we knew existed in our society, the ones we had been fighting to overcome, were suddenly laid bare for all to see. During the many lockdowns, we knew we had to act fast to maintain our learners' connection with education and to community support. We saw firsthand how women bore the brunt of the digital divide. Women put themselves second throughout the pandemic. For example, if a family did happen to have a laptop or a device, it was put to use for the children's education or for the husband's job search, and it would come to the woman last. We know the effort and struggle women face completing assignments, staying engaged in classes, and progressing their education while caring for their families. We are very grateful to government and Oncosan's corporate partners who helped in sourcing or funding devices for them. We are thankful for our decades of experience in women's community education that meant we in Oncosan had the vital additional wraparound supports they needed. COVID-19 has shown how promoting digital literacy as an essential wraparound support for many learners is crucial. But it has also highlighted that helping those furthest behind often requires much more than digital literacy support alone. A range of wraparound services are also crucial to give prospective learners the space and the confidence to benefit from literacy programs. Therefore, we welcome the Adult Literacy for Life strategy, highlighting that we must go beyond access. As called out in the strategy, tackling the digital divide also requires a collaborative approach. We need a whole-of-society approach to a whole-of-society problem. In Oncosan, we have developed relationships across the corporate, public, and community sectors. We have been working closely with some great government and corporate partners, such as SOLAS and Accenture, who are helping us in our work to address the digital divide. We've worked with Accenture as a partner for over 10 years now to improve digital and employment skills in Ireland. A key issue in tackling the digital divide is not to assume any particular level of digital literacy on the part of a learner. What is needed instead is to meet the individual digital literacy needs of adults based on where they are currently at. So we developed a digital competence assessment tool which helps understand a person's digital competence. It's based on the European Digital Competence Framework for Citizens, DigComp. We wanted to make the tool accessible to people with 0 to low level digital skills to understand where they are. It's really easy. It only takes 15 minutes to complete. It's free and accessible. Today, almost 4,000 people have used our tool to understand their digital competence, their level of digital confidence, and can see any gaps they may have. We make available our digital stepping stones assessment tool widely to ETBs and others who share our commitment to digital inclusion. We are building on our digital assessment tool and developing a further collection of digital learning material, which again, we are happy to work with partners in promoting and making available to those who need it. When an individual acquires essential basic digital literacy, it can open a whole new world of opportunities and learning pathways. Ensuring the digitally excluded across the digital divide will create a more inclusive, fair, and equal society. In conclusion, many congratulations to everyone who worked on the development of the Adult Literacy for Life strategy and to everyone who contributed to it. There is much to be proud of here. Hopefully, it will go to show that yes, together we can and will demolish the digital divide. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. And that concludes our event for today. I'd like to thank everyone for attending, for being here. I'd particularly like to thank our Minister Simon Harris for launching the event. I'd like to thank Martina Kiley and also Andrew Brownlee and Heidi Foster for their contributions as well. So thanks very much. That's the end of the event for today. Thank you.